Hey everybody, how's it going? Carlos Mencia here, and yes, finally, I'm doing a podcast. Listen, I've been doing podcasts here and there, in and out, coming in, coming out, but I just never grooved on it. Now, I'm going to tell you why, what inspired me, the whole thing, okay? So let's just start in the beginning. I am legitimately, and you can check this, social media online, I'm the first person the internet ever tried to cancel. Started in 2005, 2006, pretty much. And you can see the trends, you can see the algorithms. And to this day, there's still a certain section of the internet, social media, that just doesn't want to put up with me. Even though I haven't put anything out since 2010 that I know of. So for over 10 years, I've stayed away from everything, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not. And that's where I come from. So you would think that right now I'm angry, I'm bitter, and I get even with those. Nah, that's not the case at all. What I've been working on is something different. What I've been working on is being here to say to you guys, to talk to you guys about this, and to basically work through my resentment, my anger, my wanting to get even, my wanting to hurt those that hurt me, my wanting to post things, to say things, to do things to hurt those that I perceived hurt me. But I stayed away from that. The one thing that you can see online is people saying disparaging things about me, even comedians. The one thing you cannot find nowhere is me doing the same to those who have done that to me. And it hasn't been easy. It has been difficult at times. But I just want to put out positiveness. The world is filled with easy put downs. But it's hard to uplift. It's hard to uplift yourself, to uplift others. But it can be done. And as resentful as you are, you can get past it. As sad as you are, you can get past it. I have had unbelievable moments of sadness. Look, there are two worlds out there, right? All of you that have seen me perform live, you guys know, because you tell me how I make you happy, how I affect your lives, how I put things in perspective. And you see me in such high regards. And then I go online and things are brought up from 10, 15 years ago. There's still like hate from that. And it's just, sometimes it's hard. It's difficult to live with that. It has been difficult for me to do a great show, get a standing ovation, feel that love, see it, to be there in that moment. And then to have somebody right out the gate go, yo, Carlos, listen, man, I don't care what anybody says. I think you're blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, that's a great compliment. But within that compliment, they're telling me, hey, there's a bunch of people out there, so many people telling me that you're horrible, you suck, you ain't shit, that I need to tell you, like, I don't give a shit about them. Well, you're telling me that you love me, but you're also telling me there's all these people that don't. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot to not take the sadness, the tears, the moments of vulnerability, and just scream at the world and listen. I want you to know that I'm a human being. I'm not some perfect dude that's saying to you, hey, just ignore it, whatever, who cares? It doesn't work that way, especially in my business. What people think about me actually affects my business. And a couple of things happened recently that have inspired me to go, you know what? I want to put it out there. And this podcast, it's going to be different every time. I'm going to interview people sometimes. Most of the time, producer Bert's going to be a part of it. But I wanted to do this today. And my brother Albert, he's called Producer Bert. He and I are adopted. We're brothers. And in the past couple of years, my birth mother died. His birth mother died. and it's been difficult for him, and he's not in a good place. And I called him up, and he's like, nah, not today, bro. And you know what? I was going to just keep this going. You know what I mean? Keep this going. What's up, guys? But I just got to do it now. I had to do it now, and I had to put it out there. And his sadness and my sadness, I need to turn that into something different. And it's been difficult because, you know, like I said, I lost my birth mother. I lost my older brother, who was kind of like my dad in that sense. And I'll tell a story about him later on, but it has been difficult to not take that easy and put it out there. But I've worked through it. Thanks, Dr. J. That's my therapist, who's helped me see the world differently, come through with different eyes, come through with a different idea of it. Because I know that the internet, social media, some parts more than others, is filled with putrid, vile, unbelievable, disgusting hate and resentment. But it can be something different too. And that's what I wanted the world. And I've gone through it. And so for me, it's this. It's trying to tell you to do as I do, which is, and it's not even take the high road. It's when you put other people down, it makes you feel better, but it doesn't actually make you better. And it does something to you, not to the people that are doing it to you that I don't know that you want in your life. So what inspired me, sadly, to do this today, amongst other things, was the shooting yesterday. And I was thinking to myself, you know, I'm sure that I was bullied, I was this, you know, I was hated on, I was that. Listen, I've been bullied, I've been hated for 10 years. It's cost me literally millions of dollars. I can sit here now and tell you that I now know for a fact that there are companies that were asked, hey, I want to do a special with Carlos. And they said, no, we don't want to work with a guy who has that guy's reputation. I know that there are people that produce TV shows and movies, heard the same exact thing. And now I know for a fact that this whole Carlos Mencia, his name is Ned, he's not Mexican, he's German, he steals jokes, all the campaign to bring me down. It didn't bring me down, but it tripped me, and it worked. It made a lot of you guys hate me and despise me when you don't even know me. It made a lot of you guys not see the good things that I've done for comedy and for comedians, and just look at the bad things, the negative things, and put me in a place that was just crazy. So one of the things that happened was I saw that, and I thought to myself, you know, it's a good thing that we don't talk about people that, you know, do mass shootings. It's a really good thing that we don't give them attention. But I think that what does get lost in it is also the pain that they go through, in the sense that, you know what, you might have taken somebody's life and that might have felt good at that moment, sadly, but you took your own life too. If you lived, you took your own life because you're going to end up in jail for the rest of your life. You're never going to get to be free. You're never going to sense the freedom. And because you got bullied, because somebody made you feel, however, actually, because you allowed yourself to feel that way. They said something, we felt whatever we felt. For me, it's a little different. I don't care about people speaking ill of me, but when producers don't want to work with me, when companies don't want to work with me, when, you know, a Thursday show goes from we're sold out on Thursday and we had a show on Thursday to we're full on Thursday but not sold out, I can see the effect. And that's what gets me. It's not the people saying it, it's the effect that it has. And it's not even a monetary effect. It means that when I do a great show and I connect with the audience and I have something really important and beautiful to say through my comedy, and it's a 400-seat room and there's only 300, 250, 200 people, well, all those other people don't get to see it. And the legend continues, and it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. And I want all of you people to know that when bad things happen, when life comes at you, the best thing to do is just, talk to somebody you care about, talk to somebody that loves you, overcome it. It's not easy. I'm telling you, and this is why I'm glad that I lived this, because you can go and see what I've been through. You can see the hate that I've gotten, and you can see that I'm telling you, don't fall into it. Don't go into it, because at the end of the day, you just become them. They bullied you, you killed them. You didn't get even. You went past even. And now you're going to suffer the consequences, because I guarantee you that all of these people at some point in time will be in jail, and they find Jesus and they find God and they repent and they flip it around. But at that point, no matter what you're thinking, you're still there for the rest of your life. That's one thing that happened recently that made me go, I need to start the podcast, man. Another thing that happened was when Mind and Mencia started and all of this stuff on the internet, the anti-Carlos Mencia stuff started, I have a nephew that went to jail. I hit the camera for his third strike. He went to jail for his third strike, and the day he got out, which was a few weeks ago, so, he was serving 25 to life. He served about 15, about 17 something years. Came out recently out of prison, and he came to see one of my shows, and we both went online and immediately read 3 comments about me, and I felt like, holy shit, this guy went to jail for real felonies, for 3 of them, 25 to life, and he's out. And me, Carlos Mencia, comedian, who supposedly stole jokes 17 years ago, still in comedy jail. And I thought to myself, I can wallow in this, or I can move on, and I can show something different, and I can be strong enough now to take the things that occur to me and talk to you guys about it and really have a better effect on people. And so that's where I'm coming from now. I'm coming from that place. Now, the reason it's called No Hate, No Fear is because a really good buddy of mine that I just think is the funniest human being on the planet, DC Curry, he and I were performing. And by the way, if you've never seen DC perform, please go see him. He is just unreal. I mean, unreal. Nobody makes me... Well, there are a couple of comics that made me laugh like him, but just a couple. I mean, him and Juan Villarreal just take me to another level. But I don't even know if I can just DC is unreal. And we were doing a show together, and he told the audience that for him, I had no hate, no fear. And what he meant was, when I do jokes about people, regardless of what they are, they all come from a place of love. I've rarely, if ever, I don't remember ever writing a joke to put somebody down on purpose. It's always been different. Now, I do a lot of jokes about people with disabilities. Thing is that I hang out with people with disabilities. And when you hang out with people with disabilities, they become people, and that disability disappears. All right? I don't see that disability anymore. I just see the person and the personality and the things that they would do, and that's it. So, case in point, Josh Plu, somebody that I helped out early on in his career, brought him on the road. I don't see his disability, right? That's not what I see. I see his personality. But because he has palsy, his body behaves in a certain way. And so if I was to do an impression of somebody with palsy and it wasn't good, Josh would be the first person to call me up and go, "You need me to help you?" I mean, he would call me and give me shit about it. And so I have to commit to those moments, unlike some other comedians, because those people exist in my life. And you don't know what it's like to have somebody, not even Josh, because Josh is kind of mild. I got friends that have really, really kind of extreme palsy and a lot of shaking, and even them, for them to tell me your impression sucks, it's funny, but it's something I don't want to do, man. I want to have integrity. And so when you hear me do that stuff, it's not that I'm trying to be funny in a negative way. I'm literally just trying to do the best impression I possibly can so that it fits the moment. It's the same thing with Brad Williams. I don't see him like that. I really don't. And here's how you know that that's a fact. And when we get producer Bert on, he'll tell you that this is true. So I pretty much discovered Brad Williams. I was doing a show in Brea, and I was doing jokes about dwarves. Actually, no, I was doing midget jokes. I was using the word midget. And literally, half of the audience was laughing, and half of the audience was not laughing. And that is not normal. I mean, no matter what any comedian says to you, that's just not normal. And I stopped, and I looked at the audience, and I go, hey, is there a midget on the side of the audience or something? Is that what's going on? And it's silent, and I just see two little hands go up like this above somebody's head through the, I'm looking, and I go, come up on stage. It's Brad Williams. He comes up on stage, we talk, I ask him what he does for a living. He says he works at Disneyland. I cannot stop laughing. I say, what do you do? He says, I do security for Mickey Mouse. Audience is on the floor. On the floor. Turns out, they try to use little people because most of the people that they're protecting Mickey from or any of those characters are children. And you don't want adults scaring children, so you have a little person doing it. And anyway, we had fun. It was awesome. He went back in. A year later, I'm performing at the Improv in Ontario. And he shows up and he tells me I got bit by the bug ever since that day. I go to open mics. I've been doing stand-up. I go, good for you. I can't wait to see it. And we kind of separated at that moment. At that moment, my wife goes, you should bring him on stage. And then Albert comes and goes, bro, you need to put him on stage. Now, this is how you know I only saw him as a human being at that moment. I said to him, hey guys, this is a sold out show. He's expecting to be great. If he goes up there and bombs, this is going to affect his psyche for a very long time. And I don't know if he's ready for that. Because sometimes when opportunities present themselves that are bigger than what you can handle, it doesn't help you. It just stagnates your growth for a longer period of time than it normally would have. And I didn't want that for him. So I was like, no, guys, hey, what if he bombs? What if he doesn't do well? I haven't seen him perform. I have nothing to go on. What if he bombs and it messes with his head? And Albert looked at me and he said exactly this in exactly this way. What? He's a midget. They're gonna fucking laugh. And the way he said it, I was like, all right. And I brought him on stage. And for you people that used to watch the shows between like 97, 98, and 2004 or 5, remember I used to do the dance-offs? Even the Punisher tour. Remember I used to do the dance-off with Brad and me and Steve, and we would go up at the end? Well, it was born on that night because he came up on stage. I brought him up on stage afterwards. There was a guy wearing these Mexican boots. I go, oh my God, take off your boots. I took off the boots. I put the boots on Brad, which of course, hysterical because they're big boots. He's little legs. He does the Mexican dance. Case closed. All this time later now, boom, Brad Williams, killing it. Love that he is. My point of that story is, at that moment, I didn't see a dwarf. I didn't see a little person. I didn't see somebody who can physically get a laugh, who people will look at and immediately gravitate toward. I just saw a human being that I wanted to protect so that they could not deal with something negative. This is how I see him. This is how. On the other hand, let's be real. I would say to people during the Punisher tour when he came out, nothing makes you happier than watching a dwarf run. And he would literally take the cue and run across the stage behind me, and you would just hear everybody erupt in joy and laughter. And this is where we went, and this is what we did. And so, yeah, I'm gonna make fun of what I think is funny, but I believe that that's what you should do. You know, when people say these people are off limits or those people are off limits, to me, what you're saying is either they're perfect and you can't make fun of them because they're infallible, or you're saying, let's pretend that they don't exist. And we do that all the time. You do that when you see somebody with a disability, and instead of looking at them and smiling, you look away as to not. You feel sorry for them, and sorry in a negative way, not a sorry like a beautiful man, like, oh, therefore out thou, you know. I mean, for the grace of God, go I. You know, it's a different thing, and I don't do that. You know, when people with disabilities come to my show, I make a point to talk to them before the show and let them know, hey, I'm gonna point you out. I'm gonna say something to you. And they normally get so happy, right? They get so excited. And they get excited because they're being seen. And I point them out, and normally it's just a great and beautiful experience. You know, the other day, I do this joke where I do an impression of somebody with palsy, and basically telling our current president to keep his balance because he keeps falling. But I go past the joke anyway, and there's a part where I tell people, like, hey, I know that some of you feel uncomfortable with me doing the impression, but I have to do the impression, and it's a good thing that I do it, and people with palsy would want me to do it. And there was a little girl there with palsy, and she screamed, and I saw her, and I said, see what I mean? And she yelled out, like, to the audience, like, yeah. And I asked her, like, was that a good impression? And she was like, yeah. And it was amazing. It was a magical moment where we all became human. We all became just a person. And all that stuff didn't matter. And everybody who thought, oh my God, I shouldn't talk about that, or I shouldn't laugh at that, were like, oh my, this is cool. This is real. That's what I want to create. And I want to talk about it. You know, I do, you know, LGBTQAI plus Y. I do all of those jokes because they exist in my family. I have 11 sisters, 6 brothers, 78 nephews and nieces. We've had it all. Okay. We've had the gay. We've had the trans. We've had suicides because of it. I mean, I'm being real. And all of it has created that I want to talk about this stuff. I don't want anybody. And speaking of this, listen, my buddy Dr. Ramon Musquez saw me perform this weekend. And this weekend, I talked to people about going online and you know, feeling depressed and having moments. They never lasted long. But I had moments where I felt like, you know what? It would be easier if I wasn't here. This is too hard. Maybe it lasted that long and went away. And he was affected by it. And he was afraid that in me speaking about it, maybe I was going there. Maybe it was something that I actually contemplated. And I want you to know that, no, it was never anything that I was going to do. And it's never anything that I'm going to do. But I definitely don't want to wash over it. Because I know there are people out there that feel the same way. I know some of you feel bullied. I know some of you feel attacked. I know some of you feel that the best way out is that route and not to be here anymore because it's difficult. But nah, man, don't do it. There's love out there. There's love for you out there around the corner. There are people that care about you. Listen, it's who you listen to. And this is how I know I've changed. There was a time when I could read 100 comments that said, Carlos Mencia, you are the greatest comedian in the world ever, period. I don't care what anybody says. And then one person would say something bad. And all I cared about was that one person. And now I'm trying to text with that person. And now I'm trying to go back and forth with that person. And now I'm giving that person attention. And I knew that I didn't want to. I knew that I didn't want to, but I couldn't help myself. I am now at a place where when if you say something negative about me, it doesn't bother me. And I might give you one response, but then I'll probably just block you and delete you, because I don't want to pay more attention to you than to those people who tell me that I'm great, or that I made them laugh, or that I made them happy, or that their, face hurts from laughing the night before, or that they went with their mom and dad and they had the greatest time ever, or whatever those beautiful moments are. It's so easy to gloss over them and go to something negative. And this podcast is always going to be about the positive place. Yes, we're probably going to get in trouble. Yes, I'm going to talk about the story about how I got angry at a transgender whose name is Alex because I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. And I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I want to get it right. When I said, my name is Carlos, expecting a name that would let me know how to address you. And then she went with Alex, and I had to be like, are you serious? You already know we don't know. You know what? I will speak for nobody else. For me, unless you want me to just be completely ambiguous and refer to you as they or whatever and not go to he or she, well, that's cool. Then tell me that. Then let me know that, right? Then tell me that that's what you want. But outside of that, that's not cool. It's kind of a dick move. I feel like you're making fun of me, Alex. I feel like you want me to mess up on purpose so you could give me shit about messing up. And thank God that Alex was honest enough to be like, yeah, I kind of like fucking with people. And I was like, cool, good. So which one is it? He or she? And we moved on, but it became a joke. And now I can format it as a joke. And now I can do it. And I'm never going to stop doing stuff like that. It's never going to be. But here's one thing I'm proud of as well. That of all the things that you've heard and read on the internet, you've never heard or read me speaking ill of those that speak ill of me. Because I want you to do as I do, as difficult as it is. And I want you to understand where it came from. I told you earlier about my brother. My older brother, Heriberto, was a very learned man. He was a very intelligent man, and he read a lot of books. He taught me how to play chess. He told me, don't take Spanish in school. You already know Spanish. Learn another language. He told me that when I go to Honduras, I lived in Honduras for like 3 years, to learn Garifuna and Miskito, which are two indigenous language of the Miskitos and the Garifunas, basically. And he told me because to connect. And by the way, that aside, just know I'm one of those type of people. Now, a lot of people say that this trait that I have or that I do sometimes is annoying or fake or whatever. I don't feel it. So here's what it is. When I talk to other people, inevitably, I begin to speak like them. If I'm in a group of people and they don't speak the way I speak, by the end of the conversation, I will be speaking a lot like them. I will be using their vernacular because I know that when you talk to other people and they feel like you know them or that you're a part of their tribe, quote unquote, that they open up and they feel more comfortable. So when I go perform in Hoover, Alabama, and I come back to LA, my friends are like, you were in the South, weren't you? I'm like, why? And they're like, listen to what you're saying. And I'll just adapt to y'all. It'll just be part of it, right? Now, there's no part of me that feels it's selling out because I say the same things. I don't go to Birmingham, Alabama and do a show that's completely different from the perspective of the show that I do in Miami. Believe it or not, I do the same show. Now, there's slight differences in the fact that, maybe the first 5 minutes are different. Maybe the first 5 minutes in Miami, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff about Cubans and Dominicans and Venezolanos because I'm at the Doral, and the Mexicans that live in Homestead and blah, 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 connective tissue. And then we're on the boat and let's go. I might do that too when I go to, Hoover, Alabama, to talk about how when I first started performing in Hoover, Alabama, 1990, early 90s, it was called Hoover, Alabama, and 0 Latinos would come to the show. Literally, 0 Latinos would come to the show. Now, so many Mexicanos, not Mexicans, Mexicanos live in Hoover, Alabama. They actually call it Guadalajara. Can't even make that up. Unbelievably funny. It's where they go. So I don't change the shows. I don't go over there and do this, but I will change little things up, like maybe the guy who sounds maybe that guy that sounds like this because he's dumb somewhere else might be a little rednecky when I do it there. That there's little things that change, but the essence of what it is, that is authentic, that is real, and it stays that way. And I think that helps when I go to places like Appleton, Wisconsin, or when I'm in Buffalo, New York, or when I'm in Philadelphia, or when I'm in Miami. It's something that I do. It's not something that I do even sometimes consciously. It just occurs. That's where I go. So going back to my brother. My brother inspired me, told me to be better, wanted me to be great at everything and anything. And when I was a kid, he gave me a book by by Alexander Dumas. It's the book about the Alexander Dumbass. That's him. It's the Count of Monte Cristo. It's a French book. Anyway, I don't know if any of you know the real story, because the actual movie that just came out with Jim Caviezel, the ending is not the original ending of the original book. In the original story, here's what happens to synopsize. A man named Edmond Dantes has a friend and a girlfriend. The friend is rich and his girlfriend is amazing. They all get together, but secretly, his rich friend hates him. He hates him because he has a girl, because he's happy. He just doesn't fucking like him. So he and a few other guys set up Edmund, make him go to jail, make him go to the worst jail ever. He goes to jail. He loses his girlfriend. He gets beaten. He gets tortured in jail, prison. And when he's in prison, he meets another man who helps him try to dig out. They never dig out. But the man passes away. He passes away, allows him to use him, lets him know that there's a treasure. He escapes, finds the treasure, and becomes the richest man in the world. And Edmond Dantes becomes the Count of Monte Cristo. When he comes back to get revenge and exact revenge on all of those who hurt him, he finds out that his girlfriend married his enemy who set him up. And they have a kid. So he sets him up. He goes systematically through them all. And then there's one left. And at that moment, he finds out that kid is really his kid and that she still loves him, but she wants nothing to do with what's happening. So at the end of the book, pretty much, she's about to get on a boat with her son, which is Edmund's son, and she says, "Leave with me. You're rich, you're amazing, you have everything you've ever wanted, and now you have me and you have your son. We can live the rest of our lives happy." And he says, No. Please, I just have one person, just one more left. And with this last one, I got my revenge. It's done. I'll never worry about it again. It'll never become a part of my life again. Just give me this one day. Just give me this one day to get my revenge, and I'm good, and I'll love you, and I'll be happy, and I'll be great. And she basically looks at him and says, "You are the Count of Monte Cristo. The love of my life, Edmond Dantes, he would never stay here an extra day to extract revenge on anybody. He would have gotten on this boat with me and left and been happy. You are no longer the man that I fell in love with. You are the Count of Monte Cristo." And I remember reading that book going, what the fuck is this? This fucking asshole, let him get revenge. Look at what happened to him. Look at how he got treated. Look at the scars on his back. Look at how they tortured him. Look, he deserves his revenge. He deserves to get even with those who did that to him. He deserves it. And I was pissed about it. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. I didn't feel it. Up until recently, when the things that I told you occurred and I realized, you know what? It changes you. You end up doing hurtful things. You end up becoming those people. I don't want to be the people that hurt me. I don't want to be the people that just spoke ill of me. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to know what it's like to have hurt somebody's career to the point where they're making less money because of me. I don't ever want to do that. I don't ever want to put somebody else down so that you could like me more. I want you to like me because I entertain you, because I say something that inspires you, that makes you feel good, that makes you feel loved or wanted, or that makes you feel important, that makes you feel like there's something there in life for you. All of those beautiful things is where I want you to be. And that's where I want to be. And that's where I am now, innately. I don't have to fight it anymore. I don't have to go toe to toe anymore. I don't have to pretend anymore. It literally is where I want to be. And I've come full circle with that. And so now I understand it. I understand that I never wanted to become that which and I don't even hate. It's just that I don't want to be that. I don't want you to tell me somebody sucks. I don't want you to yell out anybody's name during my shows. I hate that. I don't like that. I don't want that. I want you to tell other people how you enjoyed my shows, how you enjoyed my podcast, or you enjoyed my post, or you enjoyed my picture, or you enjoyed my reel, or I made you laugh, or I made you think, or I made you whatever it is. Whatever it is, that's what you share. And, when somebody says, when you go, I'm going to go see Carlos Mencia tonight, and somebody goes, oh, Carlos, whatever negative shit they say, you know what a great response is? Well, I am so glad that you don't have to go to somebody's show who brings you so much pain. He brings me joy, so I'm going to go. Thank God you don't have to go. But what you should do is get off this page and go find somebody that brings you joy, as opposed to going into, think about that. There are people that go to my page that literally just want to say something negative and live in a negative world. And I say that because I have a lot of people, and recently, a lot of people, almost 3 to 5 a week, that come up to me after shows. And you know what they do? They apologize. They say, I came here with the intent of recording your show and then saying everything negative about you I possibly could and showing every single joke that you stole. And I'm like, well, I record every single show. So every single show that I've done since 1994 pretty much is either in my archive somewhere, or somebody that went and bought a copy of that show has it somewhere. I have legitimately put out more albums than anybody in the history of comedy, because even though they're not labeled albums that come out, every show is different. Therefore, every album is different. Therefore, on average, I do about 350 to 400 shows a year. I've been doing it since 1988. So you do the math. That is how long and how many shows I've put out. And each show is an album that I put out. And it's out there. And it's good. And I love it. And I think it's beautiful. I just had to be in a place like where I'm at in order to go forth in doing all this stuff. I'm gonna get TikTok. Yes, I'm gonna go on TikTok. I'm gonna start doing more stuff here, my YouTube, my Facebook. I'm gonna start really engaging on this level, because I want the internet to see what people that see me live have seen for all these years, the work that I've done. I'm not even gonna say what it is, because I don't know how you're gonna interpret it. But I do want you guys out there to really understand like where my creativity comes from and how it exerts itself on social media. And, I've dabbled in it, but then I come back because I still wasn't ready for it. I still wasn't ready for the weight of the negativity. Nobody prepares you, especially as an immigrant, especially as a cocky young immigrant, for those things to come. And, when I was a kid, I grew up in the projects. When we left the projects and somebody said to me, hey, Holmes, where are you from? If I answered wrong, I might get shot, stabbed, or beat up minimum. So I had to put on a face of, if you mess with me, we might die, but I'll definitely have no problem killing you. That is the face, the attitude that I had, because I felt like it's an attitude that I had to have. Here's the problem. That attitude doesn't work when you go to comedy clubs and hang out with comedians and hang out with producers, and, you know, they're fun people. They want you to be happy and in a good place, and, you know, walking off stage. And by the way, it wasn't something I did on purpose, but walking off stage and having a face like, I'll kill you or whatever it was. I get it. I get it today. And that's why, thank God, I never went to that place of blaming other people for what happened to me. I wasn't aware enough to open my eyes to see what was in front of me. You know what I mean? I couldn't see it. I was so focused on being funny and writing and creating that I didn't see, you know, what was happening around me. And something happened recently that snapped. And I'll tell you the story. One of my best friends in the world says to me, you know, sometimes you hurt people's feelings and you don't even know it. And I said, well, what is it? So here's the story. I invited my friend to my house for Christmas. This was back in the day. Back in the day, I bought him an Xbox. Now, back in the day, there was no real internet play. So when you bought an Xbox, you just played the Xbox and the game that it came with. It only came with one controller, not two. So when you gave somebody an Xbox without the extra controller, everybody got excited, pulled out the Xbox, put in the game, which was usually like a fighting game or a game for two people or more, and you only got one controller. And everybody's like, I wish I could play. So I knew, look, I don't want to be that. But when I wanted to wrap it, I didn't know what to do. Like, how do I wrap it? It looked like a box on a box, and I couldn't fit it in the box until it just didn't work. So I came up with this great idea. What a great idea. I'm going to give him a gag gift and pretend that that's his gift. So this is what I did. Everybody opened their presents. He opened his present, and it was a controller. And that's it. I waited until the end of the night. I'm a comedian. I push boundaries. It's not as funny until the end. I waited until he was literally in his car about to leave my house. And I was like, bro, stop. You know I would never do that, bro. Here you go. Here's your Xbox. Now you got two controllers. Enjoy it, man. I thought at the time, and for 20-something years, I played a little joke on my friend. Everybody saw it. But at the end, he got what I gave him, and it was cool. That was my perspective. His perspective, as I now understand it, is it was funny for 5 minutes. And then it got more and more humiliating. And everybody else got really great gifts. And everybody else was smiling. And everybody else then began to look at him differently. Whether that was real or not, that's what he saw. And all he felt was pain and negativity. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking right now, because I tell this story to some people, and when I do, they always make a face of like, what? Are you kidding me? You know what? This is how I knew things had changed. There was no part of me that wanted to defend what I did. I didn't want to say, what is wrong with you? Why didn't you get the joke? How did you not understand it? Hey, by the end, you had it anyway. What's your fucking problem? None of it. All I saw was my friend's pain. My friend's pain caused by something that I did. No, I didn't mean to. I hurt people's feelings when I do stand-up. I'm edgy. Not on purpose. It's a life I've led. I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. Look, when I go up on stage or I talk about being, you know, sexually abused as a kid and I do jokes about it, if that happened to you, I'm not trying to belittle your experience. I'm not even trying to put your experience into play. I'm trying to tell you what's going on with me and how I view this stuff and how I get over this stuff and how I deal with these things. It's all about me. And I hope that you see it, and I hope that you wish to grow from it. You know what I mean? I hope that you see that I've gotten past it, but maybe sometimes I'm not good at making that a good point, making it a point to say, hey, I'm on the other side of this. Kind of like if I have spoken of suicide and I didn't say, by the way, I'm never gonna commit suicide, but I want people to know that the sadness that takes you there, I've felt it and I've gotten past it, and you can get past it too, and you should get past it too. And that's kind of where I'm coming from with all this. So when I saw that, I went, God, finally, like all the work that I've been doing to look within, right? To see myself. So I started calling comedians, and I had similar stories to that with comedians. Whatever they were is irrelevant. It is what it is. And it is how it manifested itself, and I can't change that. But now I'm on the other side of this. I'm on the other side of this pain. I'm on the other side of this sorrow. I'm on the other side of this anger and resentment. And now I'm in a place where I can be who I wanted to become, not who I had to be growing up. The fight or flight mechanisms that led me to get out of the ghetto, that led me to get out of East LA, that led me to get out of Honduras, that led me to be who I am, to have the confidence as an immigrant who had a really thick accent and had a lot of potential, but there were a lot of things. I went there. I've done it. And then I got hit in the face with a pan. And, you know, like I said, to know and to hear that somebody wanted to put me on a TV show, but a producer said no. Somebody wanted to do a special with me, but the company that airs it didn't want to. There are a couple of comedy clubs that didn't want to work me because of this for a very, very long time. And I don't blame them. Inevitably, they all called me up. I worked at all those places. And at the end of all that, you know, they apologized to me and said sorry and all this kind of stuff and whatever. You know what? It is what it is. It is what it is, and I'm not going to let it bring me down, and I'm not going to bring us down. And I promise you, my brain is now so filled with, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to put this, I want to do this sketch, I want to put this online, I want to do that online, I want to make such, like for as an example, for a little while there, I was doing 1-minute videos. Some of you got to see some of those. Now they were on Facebook, but not for everybody. So if I was going to perform in, one of the ones I'm really proud of, by the way, it should be somewhere in the archives of Facebook, but it's performing in, which one was it? Going down to the Bart Reed's Comedy Club. Oh yeah, it's the one, Bart Reed's Comedy Club. It's called The Comic Trip in El Paso. If you can find that video, I love that video. I love the song. I love the video. But, you know, that's something I could have been putting on TikTok years ago when I was doing it. And just, like, again, just, it wore me down. I was worn down by the negative comments, and I would go to them, and I couldn't shy away from them, and I couldn't get away from them, and I couldn't stop looking at them, and I couldn't stop paying attention to them. And those were the only important ones, and not all the good, all the awesome, all the thank you, all the appreciate you, all the, hey, Carlos, you know, I don't get along with my dad, but I do when we watch your show. Hey, Carlos, me and my father used to watch you, and that's the time that we spent together, and you were our family show. Like, all of this stuff, I just didn't let it affect me as much as I wanted to, because all that negative stuff was hitting me as hard too. And it's taken me this long to bring it. But now I want to interview some people. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. And that's what this is all about. And there's no hate, no fear. And I think that the universe needs me and wants me to do this, because I did the first one and the audio didn't work. So here's what I want to do. I wanted to do it live on Instagram Live. And I wanted to do it on Instagram Live so it existed live and then it went away. I don't want that one to be, because I'm going to edit the video portion of this and edit the audio portion. So it's going to be a little different. So I don't want that version and this version to be up. I'm going to put a video version on YouTube and a video version on my Facebook. And then I'm going to put the audio version out like a podcast. It'll be edited. And so I wanted to do that. And guess what? The audio wasn't working. It wasn't working on my Yeah, it wasn't working on. And so I was like, what? It didn't go through. So I'm like, oh, but I already did it. You know what? I'll do it again. So my son plays soccer, and he's kind of been a little lazy about it, not putting in the work. And so when at the end of, and then he had a shot on goal with his left foot, but he was afraid to take the shot, and he didn't take the shot, and they didn't score, and so it affected this now. It's like the universe was telling me, like, everybody needs this, even your son. And I had to tell my son, look, take your shot. You're going to miss it or you're going to not make it, but you're going to take a shot. But you didn't take a shot and no goal was scored. You might have scored. You might have missed. But in not taking the shot, you didn't even give yourself a chance. And then he started getting mad and he started blaming others. And I said, stop, son, stop. This is on you, son. You got to work hard. You got to practice. You got to eat right. And you got to do all this other stuff, which I've been telling you because I used to be an athlete. And he goes, I know, Dad. And I know you love me. And I know you wanted to do the right thing. And I know I didn't listen. Sometimes we have to take our own lumps, Dad. Sometimes there are mistakes I have to make in my life on my own. But the fact that you told me, now I'm not going to let this get past. And I went, oh my God, that's exactly what I want to do in my new podcast. That's exactly where I want to go with my podcast. I want to do that. I want to make people feel that. I want to tell people these are the things that you need to look out for. This is the love that you should have. And, we're not all going to make it right. Hell, I'm not going to make it right. I'm not always going to put myself in that place. And, I will still have resentments. I will still want to talk shit. I will still want to, but listen to me, guys. I want you to understand that in my head, I have serious plots, right? Serious things that I wanted to do to seriously bring down those who did it on me, find things about them, real things, real hurtful things, real personal things. I'm talking about plans to hire a private investigator to find. I'm serious. Like, it has gotten that bad. But let's be real. I've never done it. And I never would. My point in saying that to a lot of you people is there's nothing wrong in thinking really fucked up thoughts sometimes. Sometimes we got to go there just to realize that they're bad and there's something that you should never do. But it's normal. It's normal. It's normal when somebody punches you in the face to want to punch them back. It's normal when somebody says something mean about you to want to say something mean back. It is normal when somebody affects your career and takes money out of your pocket that you want to affect their career and take money out of their pocket. That's normal. But when you do it, you become that which you hate. You become that which you abhor. You become that which hurt you. And it doesn't matter whether they deserve it or not in your head. It's irrelevant. What is relevant is, for whatever the reasons they did it, you did the same thing for whatever reasons you have. And they can say, I did it for good reasons. And you can say, I did it for good reasons. But at the end, you did it. And I just don't want to be that guy. And so this podcast is going to be whatever it is. Sometimes it's going to be like this. Sometimes it's going to be on an airplane. I'm going to meet somebody on an airplane and turn on and go, hey, let's do this here. Sometimes it's going to be at a club. Sometimes it's going to be in a hotel room. I don't know. What I do know is that from now on, I'm going to consistently put stuff out and talk about the things that I want to talk about. And it's still going to be me, but it's just not going to be filled with hate. And I don't want anybody to put that out there on my behalf because it's just not the way it goes. And for those of you that say, hey, Carlos, I don't care that you stole jokes. You do them better anyway. No. Then please watch the person that you think wrote that joke before me, because that's not what I want either. I want you to understand that the things that I talk about come from my soul. Now, if somebody goes up on stage and does a joke about my mom hit me with a wooden spoon, yeah, I'm going to go up on stage and go, oh man, you think that's it? Let me tell you about my life. And I'm going to talk about whatever my mom did to me. To me, That's just commonality, and you don't own my mom beat my ass. You don't own Taco Bell is not Mexican food. There are certain things out there that you just don't own. You own your joke, the way you tell it, the way you do it, and your perspective on it and your life. You own that. That's yours. All right? That is you. But you don't own the circumstances. We've all been on a plane. That's why a lot of comedians do plane jokes, because nobody owns those. They become hack material, and that's it. But I don't apologize for any of that, because that's not what it was. But what I want the world to do, and it's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to be slow, is the people that see me do 2 hours, 3 hours, they can tell you what they feel. The internet doesn't feel the same way. So I have to do to the internet what I do on stage. Put up so much material, put myself out there so much that the world really, really learns who I am through seeing me and what I do. And that's where this is going. And so this is the beginning, and I'm so excited about it. I'm in a great place about it. Any comments or anything, please, Carlos Mencia at carlosmencia.com. Check that out. Let me know what you feel. Let me know how you're feeling. And, oh, by the way, here's another thing. See how this left side went dark? It's because I didn't realize that the reflection of the light, well, actually the light coming from my monitors. And so even in the last one, like once that happened, half of my face was dark, and I didn't even understand why. Now I see it. So these little things got fixed in this version of it. I used to end my podcast before by saying, if you ain't laughing, you ain't living. And here's why. When a child is born, the one thing they do just innately is they learn how to smile when they're happy. They give you a little bit of joy, because life is about passing those moments. Now, we have to get through sadness and get through sorrow and get through adversity and get through all that sometimes to get to happiness. But at the end of the day, happiness is the thing that we want to get to. If you ain't laughing, you ain't living will always be my motto and always be a part of what I do. But the no hate, no fear is something that evolved to. Don't ever have hate in your heart. But know this. The hypocrisy of, if you're this group, you can do those jokes, but if you're not that group, you can't do those jokes. I'm a member of a human society who are beautiful and fucked up, who are amazing and shitty, who are so strong and yet so frail. I am a member of humanity, and I'm going to talk about that. And if you think that because you grew up in this place or that place or with this, that I can't connect with you as a human being, you're highly mistaken. I know I can, because we've both dealt with life and its love and its adversity. And that's what this show is going to be about that life, about that connection, about bringing it together through whatever experiences they are. They might be beautiful experiences, and they might be crazy, fucked up experiences. Either way, they're going to be experiences that connect us. And in that respect, always remember, there's somebody out there that's like you, that feels like you, thinks like you, loves you. Connect with those people. Try to bring in those that don't like you or that into the fold. Don't be shitty with them. But at the end of the day, treasure those that care for you more than anything else. And try not to pay attention to those that don't, because all they want is for you to fail, for you to be mad, for you to be angry. Don't fall into that. When you uplift yourself, you don't need to put somebody else down. You feel good about yourself. If you feel the need to put somebody else down, then what you're saying is you don't have the love for yourself. You need to work on that. So remember, no hate, no fear. Till next time, see you. That was the initial podcast. I appreciate you. Tell everyone that they were doing this. And I'll see you next time. And by the way, to everybody in Miami, yo, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Cubanito, los cubanitos, como me dicen acá. Ustedes, no yo, ustedes, de pinga. De pinga. And to those of you for this weekend, I'm going to be performing at South Point Casino. Come and check me out. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday show. Some tickets left. Let everybody know. Peace and love, baby. Out.